speed to the city streets. We began to feel the fire. We rise like tall buildings as the chemicals, they take us higher. The night's young and it's just begun as she puts her hand in mine. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be two hearts running wild. Now the morning is the afternoon. We lay awake in bed. The laughs so loud as the hours pass. We're gonna do it all again. We wanna chase the night, wanna dance to the light, pull the stars from the sky, just two hearts running wild. Never sleep, never stop, as we shout from the top. We're gonna be, we're gonna be two hearts running wild.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Wednesday. We're back, and I'm all snugged up here in shawl and my poncho, and it might not sit the fanciest, but it's so cold. And the crazy thing is, it's not that cold, but I'm freezing. Good morning, Revenant. Good morning, Lisa. Good morning, Susan. And good afternoon, Helle. Wonderful to see you, lovely people here. I'm just catching up on the things. Finished work not too long ago. Just had a slight tiny bite to eat, and I still have a few blueberries that I'm snacking on. And us that the plan is basically to continue on the on the LapsangTea Shawl. Let's see. I just need to have some space here. Yeah, it still didn't bother my my cable. So actually, my internet cable is a little bit of a loose goose because it tends to jump out. So I just need to see if it jumps, because else I go on the wireless and then my upload stream goes like crazy slow and you get lag outs. So I'm just trying to prevent that. And we have that here. So we are just, what we finished to do last week, Wednesday, was that we reached to finish the last row of the repeat of the second round. Or of the second repeat, sorry. So the last row of the second repeat, which means that we are basically about to start on the first round of the third repeat, which is basically what we're going to be doing. And now I just need to actually look live what I'm doing and not delayed. This is where we are at. Ta-ta. It is gorgeous. We made it gorgeous together. We didn't have the color change as I expected last time, but we are close, as you can see. And there are multiple strands here now showing with 2 strands of the light purple. So today, my friends, I expect a color change. What is else to say? I had a blast of a weekend. That was one crazy experience. So lots of things to talk about, lots of updates and more on that. Of course, I also have my tea. I hope you guys have something to drink as well, either something warm or something fresh, depending on the time of your day and what you feel like. I am right now really happy for something warm because, as I said, I do feel chilly and I don't know why. It always happens in the autumn, like in the winter, as soon as the temperature just drops to be like autumnish, I'm like chilly. And everybody's like, Stine, how can you be from Denmark? Like, you can't be Scandinavian if you can't take a bit of cold. And I'm like, I don't know. Something went wrong. I'm not really sure what it is, but regardless, warm tea is my savior. It's a loose tea blend. Nijmeeg's Trots. You have heard about it so often before. I do grab it up at the local sea of Nijmegen. And I think we should have a look at the weather. It's been really windy and um yeah, what can I say? It's just been really autumnish. We had two storms across one another. Revenant says you were meant to be from the Caribbean. Probably, except for the fact I'm not a big fan of all those um, hurricanes. And it looks like Nightbot might be asleep still. We'll see. Anyhow, I am gonna find the pattern because what we are gonna do is we are gonna crochet. Oh no, Nightbot is there. Nightbot says here in the weather for Nijmegen, which is 10 minutes drive from here, is conditions are cloudy with a temperature of 56 degrees Fahrenheit, so it's about 30 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from the south at 8 miles per hour, and the current humidity is 75. It is going to rain again tonight, and again tomorrow, and then I think Friday is meant to be dry, like kind of finally feeling. I've seen rain every day since Friday, basically. And this week, so I'll be live today, and we will also be live Friday for another live session instead of the yarn talk video because it is every second Friday. As I explained, we are kind of heading into this period because I want to focus a lot more on getting my blanket done. Not that I've had the time since the yarn talk video though, but maybe tonight I'll have some time to work on it. And definitely some time with luck tomorrow. The weather for Vaco in Texas are conditions are sunny with a temperature of 52 degrees of Fahrenheit to about 11 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from northwest at 16 miles per hour and the current humidity is 51. So it's going to be a sunny day in Texas by the sound of it, and definitely warmer than here. I wouldn't expect otherwise. In Winkler, Canada, the conditions are clear with a temperature of 32 degrees Fahrenheit, so that's about 0 degrees Celsius. I have a feeling you almost had your first snowfall by, by these temperatures, but I'm not sure. The wind is blowing from west-southwest at 5 miles per hour, and the current humidity is 87. I would say clear it at 87 humidity. Did it just like rain or snow? I would say so. Susan says, I had a funky dream. I was in Norway with Anna and Carlos at a knitting event, and at a high school boyfriend was there too. That's a crazy dream. Oh my goodness. And Lisa says, we're supposed to get snow next week. Yep. Predictions are that the snow is on its way, unfortunately. Which means, I guess, that the contracting work is also kind of coming to a hold. Let's see. I do believe my sections are 5 to 20. Just double checking. Yes, repetition row 5 to 20, which means I can go all the way back to row 5. And prep for this one. The weather for New Jersey is cloudy with a temperature of 50 degrees Fahrenheit, so about 10 degrees Celsius. The wind is blowing from northeast at 8 miles per hour, and the current humidity is 72. Honestly, I'll just take sun. Like, as soon as it starts being sunny, it feels warmer already, right? Lisa says we'll be working for months to come, but the guys aren't having fun, though. I can imagine. I can definitely imagine. So, let's see. We pop over to the dual camera view. You should still have audio, and we are gonna attempt, and I'm like literally I'm wrapped up in blankets and all sorts of fun things, and it's really simple. It's cold. um, I'm like, I don't know. I would usually say like I feel a bit of a Michelin person. I have this kind of new vest on as well. So I have like 3 layers on. I have like a long sleeve, basic long sleeve, and then I have this, and then I have the punch on top. And around me, I'm also wrapped up in a blanket. It's kind of sad. And looking at the temperature, it should be like 19.5 degrees in here, which is like what, in 60s, begin 70s ish. Not sure, but that's just my quick estimate. So technically it should be cold, but on the other hand, in 1.5 weeks' time, I'm traveling to Denmark and then I won't freeze for 5 days. Why is that? Because it is very warm in my parents' place. It's like summery hot. Maybe that's why I freeze when I get home. I don't know. Like as in here home. But definitely it's nice and warm. Of course, one of the reasons for that is the fact that my mom isn't feeling well still. And on that note, she was rather unlucky. And why am I saying it like this? She sent me a text message Sunday morning saying if I had 5 minutes, she wanted to talk to me, just like 5 calm minutes. Which, but on that on its own, given how busy it was, no, this is not like it. I'm not doing it right. Um, and I called her, and she told me she had some issues. Since Saturday, including not being able to close her left eye, and other aspects of the left side of her face were sort of paralyzed. She had contacted the department where she gets the treatments for the cancers. They said to call the emergency doctors, where she went. And guess what? She had the luck that next to all this, we are still pending limbo as if she's cancer free or not. She has now also been so lucky to get Bell's syndrome, which is a paralyzing of the left side of your face, usually due to an infection or a virus. So she's now on a prednisone cure again. So I'm not really sure what to say, but she is quite unlucky. I think that is a very much describing current situation. Um, Now I need to see to them to the next skips. Chain 3, skip 3, 1, 2, 3. So of course I wasn't so happy when I heard this. That said, I guess the only relief I have is that we have a friend or a local club mate at the shooting club. He's had it twice, and I know it gets better on the other side. It's just more like, why, right? 1, 2, 3. It feels a bit, like unfair, to be honest, because she's been through so much already. So now it's like, when is the light at the end of the tunnel? That would be really nice. When can she just focus on recovering and getting better? Let's see. I need 6. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 and 6. Yes, Bell's palsy, exactly. Good. Just catching up on chat because you guys are chatty. I had my rope crocheted on until I finished my coffee. Now I'm at a temp regulated. Susan says I have to go outside before it gets windy to sweep up some leaves with my riding mower before the rain comes tomorrow. Sounds like a good plan that those, because if those leaves are there, when it gets wet, it gets slippery. And that's, oh, that can be dangerous. So definitely get that done. My mother had Bell's palsy and luckily had made more or less full recovery. Yeah, I guess that's what we are hoping as well. Lisa says my sister-in-law had it twice as well. She also recovered well. I'll tell everybody is sending their best wishes for you. Yeah, it's fair to say, I guess it's just rough, right? Like it's a little bit like it feels unfair that it's getting stacked on top, but at the same time, at least when you realize you're partially paralyzed, um, subconsciously the fear is 1, 2, 3, 4 that um, that you might have a stroke. And I think we'll happily take Bill's palsy above a stroke, to be honest. Not that I'd want any of it, but I need to compare. Yeah, that's also what we've done here. Yeah, good. Um, so yeah, I guess we just kind of hope it's like slowly coming to the end of it. Like, if you want to do something, I guess pray for good news. For the scan she has on the 3rd of December. 1, 2, 3, 4. And in this pattern, I get really good at counting to 3. Mm, mm, so yeah. So it's 1, 2, 3, and the 4th we insert the stitch. Let's see. Sorry for your mother has been going through all of this. Hopefully she comes through it. I really do hope she does. She has, compared to many others, I think, had a really good spirit. Um, Given the fact that what she's gone through, she is still positively minded and wants to live. It's not like she's just being like giving up or anything like that. Of course, she's had her bad days, but yeah, of course, who doesn't have a bad day? Even healthy people have bad days. Um, so, considering that fact, she still had quite a lot of humor and a good spirit for the current situation she's been going through. So, that is something I'm positive. Exactly, Lisa. That was my first thought as well. Um, but when I spoke with her that Sunday morning, um, on the phone, she didn't sound like one that had issues in that sense. So she does have some paralyzing of the left side, also of the mouth. So some words are really difficult for her to pronounce. But she didn't sound like I needed to be worried in her voice, which also, even though I had not heard yet what it was, I wasn't concerned in the same way of instantly thinking, "Oh shit, you have a stroke." Um, so that is definitely positive. Um, and it's really been I don't know what to say, but I feel really that my family has been going through a lot lately. And why am I saying that? 1, 2, 3 is because that Friday, just to make things worse, Friday I was informed that my brother had been admitted to the hospital exactly because he had a blood clot in his heart. Um, and he's already had a sort of stent inserted and stuff like that. So he had surgery already, and it should be fine with him. But hearing all this is like, oh my goodness. And a couple of weeks ago, my auntie also had a sort of a stroke she's recovering from. It's just being like, it's just a bit much. Like it's really been adding on and adding on, and to some extent I'm sort of happy I live so far away, and at the same time I'm not. Um, Happy in the sense of it gives me some breathing room and not having to confront the issues constantly. And at the same time, I kind of do. Um, Yeah, it's a bit of a mess. I have to say that my brother is my father's son, so he's not related to my mom. My mom only has me, just for any clarification. One, two, three, and a four. Yeah, exactly. Lisa says, I hear what you're saying. It just feels like the world is just piling on. Exactly. My words. That's kind of how it's been feeling. Then, of course, we had this event. I was vending this weekend, not with crochet. I was vending at an event where I was making my made-to-measure earplugs, which is something I do for sport athletes. I imported actually from the US. Um, and they are, yeah, I made these mates made it make sure earplugs, and we had all this drama with the other guy being like he's a sole seller and he's the only one allowed to, and blah blah blah. And he was huffy and puffy last week, and he was threatening me with lawyers and all the shizzle you can imagine. Um, and then I had this email from the place where the event was held, who basically said like, if he's trying to make any drama, he will be told to pack up his shit and leave. Um, and I came there, and we were kind of unpacking the car, and my partner just had to visit the toilet. The people I was in the booth with had not arrived yet. They had also kind of like been organizing the fact that I could be there without further issues and ado. Um, and also the ones with the, well, I do know the responsible of the venue as well, but they have sort of been doing the main communication in between. Um, and yeah, so I was like left alone shortly, and I was like really just alone debating if I should pack out or not. And these two people running the other store came and sort of confronted me, being like, recommending you not to set up and do anything, being very, very like upfront, attacking, threatening, basically saying what you're doing. We already have prepared everything with our lawyer. And if you go through with this, we just want to know who's responsible for you. Is it yourself, or is it the people I was standing in the venue with? Because they felt some of the actions I had done were punishable according to German law, and I should have a fine of at least 5,000 euros and 5 years in jail. And I was like, what? So I decided to just like hold on and wait for the people that I was going to wend with, and I like told them, and I said like, I'm just waiting to kind of hear and figure out what the end decision is, and so on. Oh, I see. I had a yarn split, so I'm gonna redo this one because I don't want to have this funky split set here. It's teasing me. There it is. And that was a bit of a crazy story, obviously, being told that, depending on, they just wanted basically to know who the lawyer should charge. And the people I was with there, he would get their store closed down and they wouldn't be able to do any sales anymore. And he was really having a lot of big words. Um, and some of it basically had to do with me being like, I can't make it not coming because, it's been advertised already that I'm there. Um, and it would be really bad advertisement for myself saying like, hey, I'm there, and then I'm not there. Like, it's not going to work like that. And yeah, bottom line, um, the responsible for the venue kind of came and said basically the same. He would throw their asses out if they made any issues, and that I shouldn't be worried, and that he also had the, I do believe it was like the vice chairman of the federation, um, was also going to be at the event, and he was aware of the issues. And he had full support for what we were doing, and he was in agreement with the fact that he would throw the other vendor out if he made issues, etc. So basically, the people I was wending with came, and we built up the stand, and the first half an hour went a bit slow, and then I swear to you, it got busy. I was really happy I had my partner with me, so he helped me out. And we sold and made a heck ton of earplugs. I've never made so many earplugs at one event over 2 days as I've done past weekend. We were wrecked when we got home. And we had some really, really nasty looks from those neighbors. I haven't heard from them since. And you know, the thing is, they were also doing the same, and I heard that they had stuff to do. And I can tell you that if I had had more time on my hands, I could have sold even more. And he still sold. So honestly, it's just a question of shouting up and being afraid of losing your market share, even though there was plenty of room for both of us. So it was actually just a bullshit farce he was pulling off. I haven't heard or seen anything from a lawyer since it's Wednesday. The letter should have arrived by now. If he's serious about it, at least for me personally. What's going on in Germany, I don't know, but I'm quite sure if he does anything afterwards, he will be told that next year he's not allowed to come either. So I guess nothing is happening, and he's just making a lot of shitstorm for, yeah, no real reason except of making a shitstorm, and everybody's shaking their heads about this idiot. So that was my weekend. It was great. I had good business. Yeah, if I could do that like 12 or 13 weekends a year, I wouldn't need to do anything else in my life. But I don't have that many events, unfortunately. Good morning, Megan. Wonderful to see you. I'm sorry I didn't say it earlier. I just had to get my heart relieved from all of this shitstorm I went through this past weekend. We did, though, find the most amazing Greek restaurant to eat at Saturday evening. That was delicious. And you know, it was so busy at this booth. I didn't even have time to have get lunch, literally. It was so busy we did not eat lunch, both Saturday and Sunday. 1, 2, 3. Uh, Rather crazy, if you ask me, because everybody who knows me know I can't survive without lunch. um, don't ask me how. And the thing is, I did feel at some stage I needed sugar, and I grabbed a quick sort of snack. But real lunch, we never really got real lunch. And I didn't feel hungry. I did feel only at this moment that I had a bit of a low sugar because of obviously not having eaten. But you know, we were so busy we didn't even feel the hunger. That's crazy. Revenant says, honestly, it sounds like if you have a fairly good legal case to charge him with harassment. Um, I'm sure when they came up to me in the morning before we started venting on the Saturday, that was intention. It was pure harassment and the want to harass me in a such way that I would be scared and not to do anything, right? That was really what his intention was, to scare the shit out of me. I am in no doubt. And I have to say, and it was extremely intimidating because when my partner was, and I think he was just at the toilet, he was at the toilet, I was picking up the second batch of stuff we needed to get from the car because we needed to go like twice back and forth. Or technically, we could do it with 1.5 trip back and forth, but one of us would then have to stay with the stop where the other would pick up the last bag or something like that. So I don't remember if it was when he was visiting the toilet or if he was picking up the stuff in the car. And apparently he had also called me at the same time when they were kind of harassing me. Um, And the worst thing about the harassment was the fact it was all in German. Um, German is not my native language by any foreign means, and that's also something that can be used if they start arguing shit. Um, but German is not my native language. I do understand it reasonably well, but when it gets extremely technical or it goes extremely quick, that is harassment as well. Um, I have no intention of having issues with them, but it sounds like I wasn't really the issue. It's more like the thing I did, as in the sense of taking part of their market share. And the real crazy thing is, as I said to you, is that they were still making business. Like they had other business they could do, plus they were still making money uh, of some of this. Actually, the last customer I had, or no, he wasn't the last, he was like the second or third last I had on Sunday. He told me that he'd for 3 years been trying to get a pair of these Instamold, which is the brand I'm making, um, and he did not succeed yet because there hasn't been available space for him to get them. So either he didn't make them, or didn't have the staff, or um, there was no spots left, or whatnot. And he was there Friday. Friday they had free prevent training. He was there Friday. The other guy had already built up his stand Friday. We first came Saturday morning to build up, and he even asked Friday evening to get a pair made. And this dude just says, "Sorry, I'll first start on this tomorrow." Where personally, if I had built up my venue there Friday evening and somebody asked me to do business Friday evening already, I was like, hell yeah. I might tell them they wouldn't be able to get the product already Friday evening. It could be that they would first have to pick it up Saturday morning. But the concept of refusing to make business is like stupid. Like, I was so shocked when he told me that. I was being like, what are you saying to me? So I just heard so many bad things. Regardless, a good vendor as I am, and a good fellow colleague in the sense of, because we are sort of selling the same product, um, I did tell people things like, one of them were like, "Oh, is it possible to get it recoded? Like if the coating drops or gets worn over time?" And I'm like, "Yes, I can do it, or you can always go to him because he should be able to do it as well, etc." Right? So it's just I wasn't talking about him in a negative manner either. I have no intention of doing so. But the vendors there definitely knew that there was a bit of a hot fire between us. Um, so yeah, it's a bit of a mess. Yes, awesome ending to the story. Lisa says, as well as I say, play stupid game, win stupid prizes for that guy. And there is the addition. I will definitely guarantee you guys that if he sent me whatever court shit or lawyer shit from Germany, I will write him back and ask him if he is genuinely sure he wants to proceed and give him the chance to withdraw it. Because if he's not, I will definitely inform the people I know in Germany about his filthy strategies, and then he won't be vending there next year either, and that's ruining his own business. So that would be very stupid of him to do. But I will be the nice person I am and show that I'm the better person. But there was definitely more than enough room for both of us to make business that year. Um, German always sounds angry. I can't imagine what an actually angry German sounds like. Very angry. Same as Dutch. That said, I like swearing in Danish much more than I like swearing in Dutch because Danish just makes so much more sense when it comes to swearing. Yeah, I think we might have talked about that once in the past. German is also a very aggressive sounding language. They probably waited for you to be alone. Bullies tend to be cowards. Oh, I'm sure they waited for me to be alone. Um, I don't imagine that they would have confronted me in the same way had my partner been there. And the thing is, my partner came halfway when they were being bullies. And I was rather happy he came when he came, because at that time I really felt cornered. And it's like, especially when you're cornered, you need to make sure you don't say something stupid. Also, we were packing down Saturday evening to go to the hotel, and I looked at my partner and said, "I'm not gonna leave any of my business here. Like I'm not gonna leave anything I'll need to produce product, because if I do, I don't trust they won't nick it. Like, and I wouldn't be able to prove it." So we packed everything down and brought it with us, and then we built everything up the following day as well. We only left a couple of things, like if he stole that, he would be like, that would be stupid, and I would be able to survive without. Lisa says, "Why would someone have such a temper tantrum and then refuse to do business? Doesn't sound like someone was being very smart." No, I would say he was being rather stupid, actually. Um, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yeah, so I don't know. It's just it's yeah. It was to say the least a very interesting weekend. um, yeah. So, and I have to say, the first like probably 2 hours when I was there and started selling, I was not relaxed, because I was like expecting something to come, right? It was not as pleasurable. Where the following day was extremely wonderful. When we arrived, it was pouring down rain, and then we were on the way to the hall indoor from the parking lot. And then this gentleman asks if he needs to take one of the crates I'm carrying. And I'm like, "Yeah, thank you," because obviously it was shit weather, so that was really polite of him. And the same bloke, the same guy, came across a couple of hours later and got a pair of earplugs made. So he even bought stuff from me, which was really, really so kind and considerate. Um, so I really had a really good feeling afterwards, and the Sunday was wonderful. Very busy, definitely worthwhile. Would I do it next year? Mm, if I happen to not be occupied elsewhere and have time, there is a possibility, yes, of doing that next year. But yeah, it was crazy, I tell you the least. But I've also heard that's apparently how he generally does business. He threatens a lot. A- Another vendor there who was there representing a Norwegian company for shooting ranges is also selling the same product in Denmark. I've known him for at least 20 years, so we know one another reasonably well. We have no issues with one another. Um, and um, just a moment. And generally, um, yeah. So he told me he had bought something for his store. He'd ordered something like 2 grips in size double XS, so XXS, and he got an invoice for 2 grips in the size XS. And he said, "I'm not going to pay for those because that's not what I ordered. I ordered 2XS." And then the guy started being like, "Yeah, I'm sending this case to my lawyer if you're refusing to pay and all that stuff." And he's like, "Yeah, feel free to send it to your lawyer because I have the proof that I ordered them into XS. So yeah, I'm not going to pay for something I didn't order." And then apparently he got a new invoice with the right and the everything that was fine. And next time they'd seen each other, apparently they were greeting as nothing was wrong. So this is a guy that just always shouts with the lawyers. Susan, yes, I do make custom ear molds for the product. Basically, it's an impression of your ear channel that becomes into an ear mold for the hearing protection. So I don't have lab costs or anything like that. It's just instantly molded to your ears. Um, and after the coating and everything, so basically it's personalized hearing protection within 2 hours. And we don't do any filters for shooting because we like to have it as silent as possible. So it should theoretically be easier to concentrate. Um, do 1, 2, 3. Yes, it's not matching again. 1, 2, 3. I do not know why, but okay. That was the same we had the previous row, I think. I'm not sure though, but I have a feeling we had a similar issue. Anyhow. So yeah, it's yeah, that was an interesting weekend to say the least. And now I think I should be clever and count stitches once I've done this one, because if that is indeed what I think it is, then if I don't count stitches, I could risk getting in trouble. Lisa says, well, for being in business of some sort for nearly 30 years, it doesn't usually make one look good by talking smack about competition or threatening lawyers. Nope, exactly. So I didn't talk smack at all about my competitors. In fact, I actually told customers at my store that if they needed certain things done and they would see him before they would see me, that he could do the same services as I would offer. Boom, boom. Not necessarily recommending him, but just saying it's an option. At the same time, also, I definitely haven't threatened with any lawyers. I just would probably throw the threat back in his face if he does end up sending me a case suit or lawsuit, being like, "Are you really sure you want to do this shit? Because that's gonna get you more trouble than it's worth." I haven't seen anything yet, and I probably don't will, because I think he's talking much more smack than he actually is. Revenant says, in a bit happier news, I managed to finish my modified drop in the pond blanket yesterday. Let's have a look at the blanket, because that is definitely much happier news than this interesting weekend. That said, of course, my weekend was good. Like, I did good business. This is gorgeous. Like, I love this. Is the best piece I've seen from you so far, mate. It's really gorgeous. I'm keen to say this is definitely the best piece I've seen from you. And that could be my taste, but I really like this design. It's really, really, really gorgeous. Oh my goodness. I love the coloring as well. So that's nice. Thank you for sharing this. Thank you for sharing. Susan asks if the pattern gives you row by row stitch counts. Well, it does for the first repeat, and thereafter you are on your own math. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to count where I'm going to place all the other stitches, and then I should be fine. So basically I need to count skip 3, skip 3, skip 3, skip 3, skip 3, all the way, and then I should end up with the last skip at the second last stitch. And if I do that, then I can continue and we should be fine. I only have one stitch too many here in the center, but I don't think it is going to cause an issue because I sort of just skipped it, so to say. It may make the tip a little bit less pointy, but the limitations is not. It's quite minimum. Rev is being asked what definition dimensions are your blanket, and I agree with Lisa. It's gorgeous. And Rev said he finished it in less than 2 weeks. It is gorgeous. What yarns did you use? I'd like to know that. Maybe you care to share. Skip 3, skip 3, skip 3. 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 2, 4, 4, 2, 4. Okay. I have stitched too many in one side and not on the other side. I am rather unhappy about that. Now the real question is, what will I do about it? The solution obviously will be to pop that over there. Which I could. And then skip it over there, maybe. Let's see if it pulls too much if I put it in here where it should be. That's not too bad. The small imperfections of life. Let's see how it helps once I have the rest added. Two. Loops and threads. Full weight, Michael owned brand. I used between 2 to 3 skeins of each color, and also used up lots of partial skeins. So probably partial skeins you already had in stock. That's awesome. As for size, that's queen sized bed. Only looks to be about 19 inches squared. Okay, 19 inches squared. Susan says the restaurant's home I donate to asks for 42 by 60 inch minimum blankets to fit their beds. Ah, so this would definitely fit. Lisa says I spent 4 hours fighting with the UPS AI bot Monday, only to find out the seller had to make a claim for the lost package. However, the seller is fantastic and sent out a new one immediately. Oh my goodness, I hate those AI stuff, which is like, you know, they're supposed to be customer service, but reality is that they aren't customer service. 2, 3. It's not making anyone happy, I think. 1, Then we skip 3. Could also be that I just skipped a stitch I shouldn't have done somewhere. I could go have a look at that. Would I want to do that? I probably would, but I have a feeling I did that all as I should. But let me just double check. There's 3. There is 3. There is 3. There's 3. I probably just entered an extra stitch somewhere in the row previous. That would have been the most logic conclusion. But I'm just double checking that I didn't do. So far there's 3. So, and if that's the case, I must have had an extra stitch in the previous row. It's just because I want to know where I made the mistake. That's the only way I learn, right? Learn from your own mistakes. But it looks so far just to be exactly how it's supposed to be. In other words, somewhere along all the double crochets of the previous row of the first side, of the last side, whatever, I have an extra stitch. That's my only explanation. And I'm not exactly sure how. There's a 5-part tutorial on YouTube channel that I mentioned in the post. Cool. The only downside is me making blankets is not something that's going to happen anytime soon. That's like, I have this blanket I'm currently working on, and after that, I think I'm going to do something else. I don't know what, but not a blanket. Not sure what though, but I'll figure out something. First we're just gonna focus on finishing off Fleur. Yeehaw! It's gonna be so great once that's done. Then we'll figure out what the next step will be after that. For 6. Let's grab some blueberries. Susan is considering buying an inexpensive one from Amazon to spin ream with fiber with. I was gifted. Okay. And Lisa is getting an EEV 6.1. Friend of mine has an inexpensive Amazon one and she forgets buying it. She says it doesn't keep consistent speed. I guess this is for yarn spinning. Susan is working on a prank with Karen anniversary cakes. And the must is for a quick donation blanket was gifted the yarn since I would never buy an anniversary cake due its high price. They look pretty nice and gorgeous, but they are also quite big, and then there are Karens. Karens aren't cheap. I do have some Karen yarn in my stash, actually. Some Karen Simply Soft. Yeah, actually I have a whole suitcase full. This sounds crazy, I know. But actually it was a suitcase that I was going to recycle. And I realized it was a perfect container for this yarn because yarn fit exactly in. No more, no less. And then I kept the suitcase because I thought it was a good way to keep the yarn stored so it wouldn't get dusty or whatever. So it's just basically still there in the suitcase. I got it from another crafter. Actually, I bought it. And I got it at a really good deal. I think I paid approximately maybe $2.75, max $3, all inclusive per skein. So I think that was a pretty decent price. Susan tries to keep her donation blankets, her costs under $20, which I understand. But Revenant says, could you just add a crease on the side with the extra stitch? Well, I kind of like just skipped it. So instead of skipping 3 as I normally would, I skipped 4 on that last bit. And honestly, I don't feel you can see it unless you know it. That would be here at the tip. Let's see if I can actually show this. From here to here is a stitch less on this side. You can barely see it, so I'm okay with it. That's kind of how I fixed it. Today I also have an appointment straight after this live, actually, because partner will get home from work, and then we have to get out of the house, and I need to bring this lovely note with me. I could show you guys how it looks actually here in Europe, because this happened to be coincidental. Give me one moment. I have this very lovely, gorgeous official letter. It's a governmental letter. Scary, I actually didn't open it because I know what's in it. But I need to open it for tonight in any case, and it's been laying there for probably 3 weeks. This is not really a good sign of how I handle my mail. I thought I had it opened, but given the fact I know what's in it, and I knew I wasn't going to use it earlier in any case. Because this, my friends, is this piece of paper tells me that I'm allowed to go vote because we are having election day. New prime minister is the plan. So this piece is what I need to be allowed to vote for prime ministers here in the Netherlands. And it also includes, like, if I want to give power of attorney to my partner to say he's allowed to vote for me. I'm not going to do that. And I need to bring stuff like that. It's from the municipality, basically saying where I can go exercise my voting rights. Ta-ta! That's politics in a few minutes. On that note, I should actually have gone through. We have this very extremely nice concept where we can go look through, like they have, how can I say that? There's a website where they collect all statements from the different parties, and we can then, based on that, get an idea of who we would like to vote for, which is kind of nice actually, because I have to admit I don't keep very much track. I do keep some track, but like not an awful lot. So I actually need to go and make one of those before we go there. But it is election day here in the Netherlands. We are bound to get a new government and prime minister, because the last one did not last very long. I think it's about 2 years ago since we had the last elections. The issue was that so in the Netherlands compared to the US, we only have, like, in the US you only have, basically you're either a Democrat or a Republican and you have to choose. Here in the Netherlands we probably have, I don't know, 20 different parties, and they all have each different opinions on things, and I don't know what. But we still have some that's extreme compared to one another, and the extremities, basically they elected 2 halves, the most extreme from one side and the most extreme from the other side, and that did not work out very well. So the government fell, cabinet fell, and therefore we are to get a new one. 1, 2, 3. That would be the nice short version of it. And that is why we already get to go do a new vote. Yay! Which technically is a costly affair. So it would be much easier if whoever gets elected can just agree on things or make compromises amongst one another. We will have to see how it goes this time around. I see, for some reason, I don't see all chats, so I get to load again. Lisa says I got an anniversary cake last year, but didn't get any this year. Okay. It's also a choice thing. 1, 2, 3. I'm looking at my numbers for my stash decrease project, and it basically tells me I shouldn't buy yarn. So I haven't gotten any since last yarn haul, which is like a month ago. A bit more, but thereabouts, right? And I probably wouldn't get any more this year unless something crazy happens. And then I instantly get this urge and itch to go check Hobby's website, but I know I shouldn't. It would be cool if their new wool cakes are on sale when I get my birthday voucher in January. Then I'm allowed to buy a little. I think I'll give myself that allowance. 2, 4, 6. They're releasing an extra bonus anniversary cake soon that I might get. Okay. I'm working on some slices of an roasted cake yarns right now, making a simple poncho. Ponchos are good. I'm happy with mine. The only sad thing about this is I would love if it was longer here on the arm, just a little bit. But I'm not like crying spilled milk or something like that. 1, 2, 3, 4. But that would be a nice project actually, to make a poncho. I did, on that note, finish my scrap yarn beanie, but it's upstairs, so you got to wait to see it for the yarn talk video. But I did finish that one. I also learned while I was finishing that the first set of knitting needles that I got from which I inherited, let's say it like that, or got donated, or whoever we should say, they are definitely not like it says 2, 3, 4, etc. Like it has numbers on top of the or next to where the needles are inserted, like in the holders, and it says like 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 10 and a half, 12, 13, 15, something like that. I don't know. But I have then come to learn that what I thought was definitely 8mm needles were anything but 9mm needles. They are a lot thinner, a lot less, probably more like 6 or 7. Because I compared those to both my double pointed needles of 9mm and I compared them to my 8mm square needles. And I picked them, the 9mm needles, because I was like, okay, 9 and 10 is what I need to go. And since I only go to 8 on the square needles, I'll have to use these, which is fine. And I grabbed them. and I didn't think more about it. But afterwards, after I finished it all, I'm like, they're still smaller than 9. Like, what is this? So I've come to the conclusion that they are just numbered. So this is just like needle number whatever. They are not marked as millimeters. I have no idea what that is. Um, but they were definitely not not sized correctly. Maybe I need to get a needle sizer and simply just sit down and get them sized and then write something down. And I should have a needle sizer somewhere, but I never thought about using it because the numbers are there, so why wouldn't I be able to trust the numbers? Is my logic thinking, but proven I can't. Lisa says that's a US size, doesn't match millimeters. That could be. That could be. Anyhow, yeah. It got a little bit smaller, I guess, than I had anticipated because obviously it's been knit on a smaller set of needles than originally intended. So it's more of a child size, which is probably also what I would be lucky at getting in the first place based on the amount of yarn that was left. But it turned out a lot better than I had dared to hope. Like combination wise, like I'm not unhappy. It's just not adult size. 1, 2, 3. I'll show you guys the next yarn talk video. It's not fair to talk about it right here, but I did finish it. So I did clear out some space in my stash, and my scrap stash even, but it's clearing out skeins because it's consumed. What on earth is going on? Oh, it's wash day. Our garbage bins are getting washed today, and that is what I can hear in the background. That makes a bit of noise. I'm using US size 1.5 double pointed needles right now, which is 2.5 millimeters. Okay, good to know. What would a US size 9 then be in millimeters? Because a US size 9 should then be less than 9 millimeters to make any sense of the issue I encountered. Let's just also realize the needles I got, the donated needles that I got, like in the very beginning of spring when I started knitting again. Like we don't know where they originally came from. They're probably likely a Chinese brand. Nine is 5.5 millimeters. Yeah, so try imagine me knitting with 5.5 millimeters, thinking it's a 9 millimeter. No wonder. And I was just like, they seem a bit skinny compared to when I see others with 8 millimeters or 9 millimeters, but I'll be fine. Clearly an error on my side. I think you're right. It's American sizes. Because that, what you're telling me there, I could actually believe that. So what I have to do is I'll see if I can find my my needle gauge or needle size measuring tool and compare it to the 9 and see if it's indeed 5.5. Because if that's the case, we know for certain that's the issue. But oh my goodness, it's like bulky weight on 5.5 millimeter needles. No wonder it's a bit like tinier than tiny. It is somewhat dense. Yeah, it would be fine for a child. It's soft though, dense but soft. Like it's soft wool, but um, I'm probably gonna end up donating it. I could imagine. I still think it's a valid hat for for someone in need. Like, yeah. Very dense. Very dense. 1, 2, 3. And the thing is, I think that I didn't notice with the smaller ones. What would a 6 then be? That would be like 4? That would, I guess, be the logic. It will warm. Yeah, that's my point. You know, somebody will be happy with it for sure. And the thing is, so I had knitted the whole piece and I was about to close off with the double pointed needles, and that's when I kind of realized this is not matching. And then I started comparing. So I was like, why is this double pointed needle so much thicker? Then afterwards, I like looked at my squared 8mm needles, and the squared needles you measure across the square. Um, and I was like, okay, this is also bigger, which is logic if it's only 5.5. 5.5 is smaller than 8mm. Oh my goodness. So I should have used size 13. Good to know. Crickets. 2, 3. Okay. Well, I've learned a lot today. I have learned a lot today. I actually even wrote my mom saying, I have a feeling that this one is not the right numbers because my double pointed needles in millimeters were much closer to my square millimeter needles compared to the other numbers. 2, 3. Which means basically everything I've knit with the small interchangeable needle set that I inherited this spring, I've not used the right needle size. Like everything, I've used smaller needle sizes. You are free to laugh. Because we didn't consider checking that either because there's numbers. So why wouldn't the logic be that it would be in millimeters? Like why would you give them a random number? Like, but I guess it's because the US guys you guys don't use metric numbers like Europeans do. My goodness. Like everything which I've not done on my square needles then has been made on smaller needle sizes. Like everything. Some of it has still turned out great though. Obviously, the smaller we are, the less of an impact it has, right? So if I think I've been using a 6mm needle and it's just a 4mm needle, that's a lot less drastic than thinking you're using a 9mm and you're using just a 5.5. Just to put things a bit in perspective, yeah? 4, 6. But still, oh my goodness. 2, 3. It makes totally sense now. Like, yeah, that actually also matches with what you're saying. Like, if I remember the sizing and how it looks, it's all upstairs right now. But I'm like, of course. So that is the laugh of today. 1, 2, 3. But yeah, I can laugh off it as well. This is why I love this community we have here with the lives. We help one another and we can laugh with one another, and you know, we all make our mistakes. Oh blimey, this is bigger than I thought though. Well, at least you made smaller items and didn't try to make a sweater or a larger item. That's valid. That's valid. I definitely also probably wouldn't use these needles for something too large. Oh, I do apologize for that. Definitely that's true. I still have a dream of a sweater one day. But I also know the effort it will take me to do. And it's just on my eventually to do list. One day, maybe. Two, three. So that is my one day maybe list. That I'm dreaming. I think first we're gonna make that cowl. To wear, of course. We'll definitely need to check my needles before starting on it to see what I have. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. But I think that is maybe a project for the new year, but I'm not sure yet. I have 4 skeins left for scrunchies. 1, 2, 3. Which is probably gonna be a project for this coming weekend because I'll be in a car, not too long, but I'll be there. And once they are done, I guess you are heading into hats and shawls, except for the blanket, of course, which is my goal to finish this year. So that is the primarily goal of everything I do. 2, 4, 5. I need one more. 1, 2, 3, 4. And this, my friends, is stitches matching up at the other side. That makes me happy. And then I do need just shortly to check here. We did chain 1 and then need to get into this loopy hole and enter one more for the treble. We finished this row. And the next row is gonna be 2. I do believe. Oh, it's still crocheting 3 together, which is okay. That's not too bad. I have 6 blueberries left, so I'm just gonna munch those. Lisa says our vacation in February has gotten changed from Spain to Argentina, so I'm planning on coming home several sweater quantities of wool. Oh, I would recommend you to maybe prep to ship some or something like that, just for the easiness. On that note, if I'm ever to go to the US again, I will probably do like I did last time, go with a half full suitcase, because it's cheap to get stuff in the States. Well, maybe not as cheap as it used to be, but some things are cheaper. Like I bought lots of clothing actually last time I was there. Especially like sporting clothes, like Nike's is quite cheap in the US compared to in Europe because it's a US brand. Mm. Don't forget to hydrate. Meanwhile, let's see. We are on to the next row of today. But yes, I have been still been tempted to get yarns, and the fact that Hobby got this new cake yarn makes me want to get some. But I also know I really shouldn't get any. Now I think this is a back post. Yes, it's a back post. Around. And then it is chain 3, and then we have all these 3 together, chain 2 between. Yeah, that's easy. And I have to have 5 in each of them. Sharp your stash, sharp your stash. I've been tempted, but I've been really good, Susan, at looking at my yarn consumption, and my yarn consumption has told me that if I want to physically meet my goal, I need to shop my stash. I cannot by any means get any more yarn this year. Or unless I'm accepting to fail. I will instantly say that a success is a decrease in either the used amount of skeins, cakes, hanks, balls, or a decrease in weight or a decrease in yardage. Preferably all 3, but a decrease in one of them classifies as a success. And I think I might be able still to make it, but I don't believe I will make it if I buy more yarn this year. That's the feeling I have. Susan is having lots of fun shopping her stash. I should probably make a new stash video. This is yarns in my stash. Because that feels like shopping my stash as well, like time for seeking inspiration. That would almost be like a vlog inspired recording. Stina going through her stash, trying to figure out what project to do next, shopping her own stash. Yeah, that will almost be a vlog. I would probably need to clean half my house first, though, because that is a genuine mess. Some places, at least, could use a good cleaning, a good excuse for cleaning. But I'd rather crochet than clean. 1, 2, 3. Then we skip all the way over here. and do the double crochet 3 together. Because I believe that is indeed what it is. Yeah, it is. I would not have been happy if that wasn't the case. Lisa says I don't have enough of one type of yarn in my stash for a sweater for my hubby, and that's all he has ever asked me to make for him. Well, it's a really good reason to go shopping, and you bring him along doing the yarn shopping because he can get to feel the yarn and get to have an opinion of the color and so on. So, yes, honey, if you want a sweater, you gotta follow me into the store and help me carry it home. And yeah, it is cheaper to check in an extra suitcase often. Obviously, all depending on where you're traveling, but that is quite often the case. Um, and we have one of those crazy travels next time when I'm going home because I'm doing the Düsseldorf, Amsterdam, Copenhagen trip, which is totally ridiculous. But it's just the same price as if I would fly directly either Düsseldorf, Copenhagen or Amsterdam, Copenhagen. But the extra leg gives me extra frequent flyer miles on XP, etc., to keep my frequent flyer status, which means that I need to fly less to do it or maintain it. And given the fact that I'm now getting free suitcases to check in, I would be absolutely stupid not to maintain it. Because obviously free checked in suitcases means that I have to pay less for my tickets. So it's basically just an extra excuse to fly a little more. Even though it's gonna take a bit longer, but I'll work at my waiting time at the airport, so I'll be fine. Susan loves quick and easy chunky knit beanie, and it uses up twice the yarn amount. Definitely. That's also why I decided to make my like the knit beanie. I decided to use up my scraps, and it worked out brilliantly. Changing color every row. It looks really nice, and you can barely see that I did it inside. Like you might be able to like really look if you look at the exact change point. But it's actually not looking bad at all. It's a little bit tight, I guess you could say, because clearly I have not been using the right size needles for the project as I intended to. It's a bit dense, but further than that, it turned out great. Now it's more just like a child-sized beanie rather than an adult-sized beanie. That is about the only difference. But it did turn out nice. And since I was combining those two skeins with a third skein that was going to go through all of it, I used up 3 skeins in total when I finished it. That was really nice for my busting project. Like, where this is really good for the meters. Because obviously one skein is 1,000 meters, 1,093 yards. So the others is really good for amount. Also to some extent the others. Where these cakes, they just add 1 cake used, but they do add quite some yardage. Need to look at all aspects. Hobby's a large man. He's 6'6" and currently weighs about, so he's 190 centimeter, 98 centimeters, and currently 127 kilos, which are 280 lips or pounds. Nearly 50-inch chests and a long torso. That is going to be quite a sweater, so you'll have to. And if you want to get the yarn with you home from Argentina, it definitely also needs to, like, you need to buy at least a few extra skeins just to make sure what you think is enough. Because if you have 1 skein over in the end, you know, you can always make a hat of something like of it, right? But you can't go back and pick up the same yarn in the event that that you have too little, so you need to buy extra yarn. I would say that is a very, very good argument for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Need to find good arguments. That said, my decrease for February has definitely been a good month so far, so that makes me happy. But I am still not close enough to where I'd like to be with that project of decreasing my stash. Reality is also that I've gotten a fair amount of balls, like cottons and so on, where I didn't use up all of them, and therefore it's still listed as in my stash. But let's say if I made like a scrap bag or scrap basket out of my cotton yarns, that would quickly use up some yarn. Could definitely consider doing that. If I would go that direction, I need to collect all of my scraps, and then what I would do is I would probably have like a dice to help choose numbers, so it's a bit of a random choice. It's still a good idea. I'd need to, yeah. I need to maybe make some scrap baskets. I think that would be a perfect consumption for yarns. But I think that's also a project for 2026. In all honesty speaking. I guess because I feel I can easily make a bit more cotton scraps before then. And I'm not sure if there's enough scraps to actually finish a bag. And I'd like, if I, of bag or basket, if I start on it, I'd like the ability to finish it within reasonable time, unless we decide that it is absolutely fine. Lisa will buy 2 extra screens of purpose. Sounds like a good plan. For a more basic sweater for him, I'll need about 2,500 meters, but I'll probably buy no less than 3,000, maybe a bit more in fingering weight. It sounds like a good plan. And as you say, as I said, you can always use the extra, like if he needs like a scarf or a beanie or whatever, how much you have left afterwards. There's always the option to make that so the yarn doesn't go to waste. Plus, it kind of like makes it a bit of more unique set to go with for the sweater, right? So that would probably be fine. I know one thing for sure is that my partner would ever, never ask me to knit him a sweater because he just isn't the knitwear guy type. There is there's actually a page in Denmark on Facebook where knitters open the opportunity to help others knit, like people either who has no time or can't knit. And then, if you're the buyer, you would usually buy the yarn and the pattern, and then the knitter will knit. And sometimes they can, if they want, get an extra paid extra for helping them knitting. I really like the idea of this. Of course, there's always some people in between who's not happy or being like, "You're underbidding your services," and there's the classic drama, right? But it's also so easy to be a keyboard warrior. I'm probably also gonna go through all of my own hats and beanies and so on and offer them on a Dutch site here, being like they have the opportunity to get some at a good price, just to help clear out the stash a bit. And in worst case, donations. There's always somebody or something who will need. We are getting a new, like, not far from here, they will build a new centrum for refugees. Usually this would be refugees from Ukraine or Middle East, Africa, war-placed zones where for whatever reason either they have managed to get all the way to the Netherlands or there he is a refugee trying to figure out where they would go into the society. And they are going to build one of these centrums a couple of kilometers from here. And I think, that could be an option to donate some things there. If I need to clear out space. Or I bring it with me to Denmark for the donations at the place where my mom used to do a lot and donate to. She obviously haven't here while she's been sick. 2, 3. So there is an option for me to rid myself of some of my makes to also clear some space. And then there is still this amazing hat that I made this summer, which is gorgeous. I've been inclined to getting more yarn to be able to knit more of them. Scary, in fact. Susan says, okay, I'm going to go outside to do some yard work. I'll leave your live stream running. Thank you, Susan, and good luck. I hope it won't be too much work sorting the leaves so that your garden is ready for the rain. I actually need to do yard work too, but I'm not in the mood. Plus, given the fact it is like we had our time change this weekend, so you may have noticed that I'm online an hour earlier than I normally am. And that is because we had our time change. That's not a puff stitch, Stina. We had our time change done this weekend, which means that we went an hour back in time. We could sleep longer Sunday morning. Trust me, that was needed, and I did not feel I had slept longer afterwards. But I definitely needed that hour extra. I would have cried if it had been opposite. And we got home from eating at this Greek restaurant, and we were at the hotel. And I was like laying on my bed, being like, okay, I could sleep now. And then I looked at the clock, and I was like, okay, literally, if I go to bed right now, I'll go to sleep at 8 p.m. in the evening. That's not going to work. I need to keep awake for at least an hour or two more. So I fought keeping awake, and I managed, because else that would not have been good. That would definitely not have been good. So that was another fun anecdote, I guess. And Nightbot is happily telling about memberships and to subscribe and so much more. Meanwhile, I'm telling you to don't forget to hydrate. I should hydrate myself. I'm just gonna finish off this cluster of 3 together double crochets. That tea is nice. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I need to check the pattern for a minute. 1, 2, 3. Back post around here, which is kinda what we did expect. So far that's right. Then 1, 2, and then we have the 3 together in the center. Okay. 2 and 3. 1, 2. I'm still having this hope that we have this color change today. I feel we really deserve it. Because it's been a while. It's been a while. 2, 3. But when we are talking about this double-stranded beanie concept, I do have a fair amount of yarn in my stash, which at some stage I got as this sort of lucky bag draw from ice. So I do have some acrylic ice yarns that I am thinking of double stranding for some beanies, because that would be a very nice solution. I think that would be a great idea. Because I don't know what to use it for otherwise, so that is probably what I'll be doing with some of that yarn. Also because there is no clarity as to how much yardage it has or anything like that. The only thing I know is it's 100% acrylic. That's it. And I'm not really sure if I would set up a big fancy project on it in the event I run out. So I'm probably just gonna be like, maybe just making hats of this would be a perfect solution. I'm hoping the crystals I ordered for my shawl will come tomorrow so I can finish it off. I hope so too, because I'm looking forward to see it finished. And, you know, we are live again on Friday. So that will be absolutely perfect. And then, of course, we are also live again Monday. My goodness, lots of lives coming up. Then Wednesday next week. Then Friday we'll have the yarn talk video. And then Saturday I'll be flying off to Denmark. One, two. Yep. 1, 2, 3. If you wanted a better idea of how much is in the bowl, what you can do is measure out 10 meters, weigh it, and then weigh the bowl and then do the math to figure out how much you have. I could do that. It's just a lot of effort. And some of them is like really, I have one skein, I have one skein, I have one skein, and they're like maybe 80 to 100 gram skeins, which is like why I'm thinking double stranding. I'll have a beanie. I'll see if I have leftovers, and if I do, I'll probably make another scrap concept beanie. It's just the thinking I have. It's not kind of finalized yet. I have another thing I'd want to try first because I have an idea for a design for a beanie. And this sounds rather dangerous, but I am going to attempt that first. To see how that goes and if it's worth anything. Oh, no, 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 no. I already have the 3. So I'll probably do that first. And that might be my project for November, when I'm finished with the last 4 skeins of velvet I have for the scrunchies. I think I'm gonna jump into that project because it's just a small project that I'll be working on when not working on this shawl, or for that matter, my blanket, because the blanket does take priority, except for during lives, because the blanket is not very friendly for the lives. Because I'd be like filled with yarn up to here, and blanket and everything else, and people wouldn't really be able to see what I'm doing. On that note, I realize I'm not sure if it's super visible because I do have it a bit. Maybe that's better. But yeah, if I succeed, I'll probably attempt write a pattern and see if I can find testers or something like that. But again, that is a future project for a future me. I'm nearly done with my Christmas makes. Then I'll make a Lost Socials for a friend with a candy opal cake. The candy opal has been talking to me as well. It is in my stash and I have a fair few of them. But I've not gotten around making anything yet. It's just sitting looking at me being like, and I'm gorgeous. Remember, you can't use me without buying a new one. Which is a really not nice concept for my attempt to decrease my stash currently. And I can't also knit and crochet all day long, because real life has other obligations. What I have seen also with the yarns I've used this year and how I'm calculating used yarns and how I'm seeing general progress of things, I feel that I somehow almost sometimes were more efficient when I had a full-time job and had the time, especially in the beginning, to crochet while I was waiting on calls coming in. Because with my current job, even when it isn't busy, I don't in the same way have the opportunity to just sit down and crochet and get paid for it, like I could with my old job. My old job, if there was no emails to be handled or no customers calling, I could basically just crochet without nobody complaining. I can't that in my current job, but then my current job is fewer hours in the week and a lot less stress, generally speaking. So honestly, I like my newer job a lot better, even though it doesn't have the dull moments where you could technically get paid to crochet. I have the feeling we are getting closer and closer to this end of this row. So we've had a good row, I would say. Then we'll see what the next row offers. I have a feeling we are getting closer to either popcorns or puff stitches. And we haven't had a color change yet. I'm surprised how long stretches these contain without color changes. And the number 3. Lisa says I have to go work this afternoon for hobby and I don't technically get paid. Well, my partner didn't really get paid either, to be honest, for his efforts past week. But he did help me. I made all the money. But I did pay for dinner. And I am paying for the hotel that we are going to stay at Saturday evening. And we are talking about, because we didn't have much vacation last year due to circumstances, that we are going at a place in January where I found a really good deal. I'll need to check if it's still there actually. But we found a really good deal where we would be able to sleep over for 2 people, and it was like it's a 4-star hotel, including like a full three meal course menu, which is nice. Reverend says, speaking of yarn stashes, I found the jackpot at Michael's Karen £1 for just $7. Normally these are $13. That sounds like a good deal, and it's not even on sale. Then is it like clearance? I have some of Puppy's Mega Balls, like 2 of them, which I got that in like a lucky bag haul, so to say, from one of these Facebook marketplaces I got. And I have these 2 skeins, and I'm not sure what to make with them. So I have been debating on making like a hexicard or something like that. There's definitely yarn enough to do it. But it would be like a one colored one then, if one go that direction. Wave color. I'm just not sure if that's the real color to go for this season. But I'm not really sure what else to use it for. It would be a lot of beanies. Discontinued colors. Earth tones. I'm gonna share for the rest. These are the earth tone colors. They look nice though. They definitely do look nice. I can't. What's the yardage of these? Like, I get they're 1 pound heavy wise, but like, how many yards do you get for a skein? Because I'm not familiar with them. If I would be, I'd probably have to find them on Amazon. I don't know. I could try that. Just popping over here. Amazon. Caron, 1 pound. We do have some of them here. Yay. Here you can see the European prices. Worsted weight, 454 grams, 2 of them, to 743 meters per piece. And you can see the prices here. Depending on the color, obviously, they tend to come in a 2-pack. The Taupey here one is the cheapest one. And I would actually be able to get them the day after tomorrow. So I guess they have them on a European warehouse. It's not going to come from the US. If I want them in white, I can pay like double the price, more than double the price. They have even the jumbo ombre, which is kind of nice, but still, that's kind of my prices, and I'm quite sure it's not cheap. The 13 one is kind of okay-ish, and here we get more colors, but there are choices if I'm willing to pay a fortune for it. Which, to some extent, $13 is like 12, a bit less, 11.5 euros. Given it's a US good, that's probably reasonable for some of them, but it's definitely anything but a sale. So we learned something today. That American yarns are expensive here. And I have to say, I'm sometimes tempted, and I'm like, yeah, but I don't need, because I've plenty of yarns. I've plenty in my stash. Which, by the way, is very true. If Susan were here, she would say, no, shop your stash. Which is true. I should shop my stash. I have been. Right? Like, I've been a really good girl this month so far. And I'm afraid I might have to tell myself to only stick to my stash for the rest of the year. for obvious reasons. Unless, of course, that tea time that I really want gets like 40-50% off and still is in stock at Hobby, then I think it's okay if I get it. Hypothetically speaking, that would be okay to then get it. Because I'm quite sure the one that they had for the Halloween color is sold out, so we are on the Black Friday ones. Popcorn stitches. Oh my goodness. This row is popcorn stitches. The blush and blue umber is what I made the shawl of for my wife out of. Ah, from the £1. They have quite a few nice ones. This is gorge. It's like a jumbo something, but obviously I think it's horrid expensive. But let me just pop over. This green? Jumbo foliage yarn, 2-pack of 340 grams, 100% acrylic, 4-weight worsted, 559, 59, 95, sorry, 595 yards. I like this. It's gorgeous colors. We have still some of the ombres, but still, this is like one cake of jumbo ombre whatever for 22 euros. It's like not happening. I'm curious if the hobbies are getting on sale. Look at this. I like these colors, but I wouldn't want to pay it for like the weight versus the yardage, and 2 is expensive. But I like the colors. Like, I think it's nice. Anyhow, black deals. Black Friday collection. Up to 50% discount. They have like coupons on it this week. Jumpy, jumpy, jumpy. The wool I'm not gonna get. Even on sale, this wool is expensive. Actually, I should get it on. I need to compare it to the Dutch side because else they won't ship to the Netherlands. So you get to look at it in a Dutch way. Black Friday, friends is not what I want to look at the Black Friday yarn. Halloween. I'm quite sure the yarn is sold out for Halloween. So they do have this. And I said I only wanted the green, but that's sold out already. The solid green. Like, this is gorgeous, but it's sold out. So obviously I'm not going to get that because it's sold out. I don't see their tea times here. Then we have their Black Friday, which is also, by the way, 50% discount. I don't understand their translation of this, but cool. I think the candy cakes are quite nice. I think they have something similar also. Was it Karen's? I don't see their tea time anymore. Is it sold out already? Wouldn't be surprised if that's the case. Early bird. Is that the ones I have here? No. Twisters is on sale. Oh, Cascata is on sale. I want Cascata yarn. I'm just not gonna pay for it now. I don't see it. I really don't see it here. See, it's on sale, but it's only 30% off. For 50% off, I'll consider it. This is also nice. I like the colors. Like, make a really nice Christmas sweater, but the colors I want are sold out. Here's the same. It's still there. This green is gorgeous. If that goes 50% off, okay, fair enough. And the same for the blue. I'll probably like make punches of it. But those are the only two I like really like to have. The rest I'm like so. It's nice, but it's not desperately nice. This, if I can get this for 50% off right now, it's 30. But if it ever gets 50% off without being sold out, that is probably the only thing I really will allow me to get. What I hope they will have on sale for my birthday coupon, and that is in January. So ideally, I won't buy anything before January to do is the new cakes. More tea time. I'm just trying to find them. We talked about them last time. They're not here yet. Here, the cozy cakes. These, my friends, if they are on sale, plus my voucher on top, I'll get these for my birthday present. Not all of them, but a couple of them. Because I think they look really nice. 200 grams to 800 meters. So yarn-wise, quite similar to Sultan, Cotton King Sultan. But they are slightly bit thicker because they do recommend a slight thicker needle. So they're a little bit thicker to it. But that's the wool that makes it a bit puffy. I like the colors of them. They have some really nice colors. Like, this is a gorgeous purple, don't you think? So for these yarns, yes. And the tea time. Else, no. But I'm not getting anything. I'm not getting anything. Revenant is very nice. You say, I will play the part of Susan and remind you to shop your stash. I didn't buy anything. I only said I'm allowed to if. That is my conditions from now. I actually had this idea I wanted to get, maybe if I got my contract renewed and all that stuff, that I wanted to order yarn from Pleta and get it shipped here for the Black Friday sales. But I've actually sort of decided against it because I know I shouldn't. And then I've also had a look at my yarn consumption for the year versus the amount of yarns that I've bought. And yes, I have actually kept track, which means that in the new year's, obviously, I will be making a video summarizing it all. Why are we doing this? I haven't had cozy cakes before, Lisa. That's why I want to get them. I want to feel them. And I haven't had a good excuse going to Roskilde yet to visit the store to see if they actually got them in the store. Popcorn stitches, for those that's wondering. Yay. Actually, not so yay, but popcorns. And then we'll have V stitches in the back posts of the previous row. And then we'll chain 2, and then it's a popcorn in each of these spaces. So we'll have 4 popcorns in the center with a chain between, plus of course we'll close it with a chain. And then 2, etc. I can do that. I can remember that. So I haven't had them before. I don't know if the wool is soft. It looks nice and soft, but I don't know. I will very much be happy to make a review of it. As I said, it needs to be on sale because I refuse to pay that full price for it. It's just way too expensive, full priced. And I'll be happy to make a review on it once I've had the chance to try it out and order it. But as said, I hope it's on sale combined with my birthday voucher when we get there, and else it's just gonna be in the new year when it's on sale. I think that's how it's gonna end up be. Unless, of course, the tea time goes on sale for 50% off, plus the cozy cakes go on sale for whatever 30-40% off. Then I'll probably end up doing it. But that has to be like sheer coincidence of luck. Ideally, I shouldn't at all because I'm supposed to shop my stash, right? Which I have been reasonably okay at, but not good enough actually this year. In the beginning of the year, I got some yarn because again it was on sale. I had my birthday voucher, the right yarns were on sale, etc. So I convinced myself it was okay. Also because I had some points, some hobby points that I wanted to use before they expired. So it was like a combination of several things. I still have some hobby points that I should get used. But I am not gonna get anything yet. I think that was 2 in between. Yes, it was. Awesome. I love when I remember things correctly. So yeah, I'd love to get it, but it does come at a cost. And yeah, not yet, I guess. I also, there's all these absolutely gorgeous cakes from European producers. Like in the US, you have the Rena cakes, and you have a few making these unique cakes. The same we have in Europe, but I haven't gotten them yet either, because I'm telling myself that I need to clear space on my stash first, and blah 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 blah. I'm telling myself it's not a good investment yet. It's only a good investment for this feeling of getting something new. We get some hormones that gets released when you get new things, right? It's always gorgeous to get that, but that should not be the reason for getting it, just because it feels nice to get new yarn. But I'm really trying my best not to go all in on a board and grab some of these. Generally also because I shouldn't. There is also some yarns at Ice Yarns, and they are like in my basket, and they have been in my basket for months because reality is exactly the same. It's expensive. I don't have room. I don't need to. I have enough yarn to entertain myself for a very long time to come in my stash. Ronan says, I'm currently playing with some of the 6-weight Salpa bulky yarn. It's super soft, but wants to split current slice of anniversary cake. Dopamine is a hell of a drug. It gets us in trouble. It does. And my trouble would be lack of space, because I'm not so sure my partner would be thrilled with the thought of me buying more yarn. Actually, I'm quite sure he would be rather annoyed. Until I get some decreasing done in sense of yarn wise and item wise. Lisa says she was talking about one of those cake makers from Germany. Okay, yeah. Well, there is at least 2 cake makers in Germany. One of them even have a discount code that she wants to give me personally because I informed her of a link not working. And I'm like, oh my goodness, I could make the most gorgeous shawls. So what I might end up doing, not defined yet, but maybe next year, to get one of them or a couple of them, because some of the shawls I want to make requires yarn that is longer than the classic 1,000-meter cake. And then I could order like special cake, if that makes sense, for it. And there is at least 2 of them in Germany. Then there is also one in Poland, and I do believe there's also one in Austria. And I've saved links to the web stores and so on. And I'll definitely end up getting yarn from them at some stage. I also know there's one in Sweden, but I am controlling myself not to get any. But I think maybe next year I can get a single one, because that's next year, right? Like New Year for my stash. I made Hubby very happy the other day. I gave away 2 of my cubes worth of yarn. I guess to your daughter, and then her husband was less happy. Good guess. I don't know. My wild guess, at least. I'm not gonna give away my yarn like that. It's keepers. I bought it for my own entertainment. Well, I could give it away, I guess. I could always make a giveaway. Done that in the past. And we checked last week, and apparently the post office is again allowing shipments to the US as long as they are gifts. To my daughter's friends. Okay. Well, I guess somebody's still not happy when they get extra yarn in the house. I think the one she was talking was called Saubermause. Okay, not heard of that one. Just gonna check if there's something like that. Saubermause yarn. Yeah, there is definitely one. Well, let's pop over. This is yarn. They make it here. They may have an art gallery. Saubermause Wollstubchen. And I see actually they also partially have it in English. Inspired by various places, but they also have industrial yarns from Atelier Citron, Schrepius, and Opal. They have a local shop in Hankensbüttel. No idea what that is, but we are gonna check with maps. Because now I'm curious if it's anywhere close, but I don't think so because I've never heard of Hankensbüttel before. Obernholz. That sounds like, oh, it's Niedersachsen. Oh. That's not exactly on the route, but. And I know there's also one in Hanover. I don't remember her name on top of my head, but I can find her if I go on Instagram. Don't know who's calling us right now, but I'm not gonna pick up the phone. It's usually not for me when it's calling. And if it was for me, they would call me on my cell phone. Like, that's silent. So, but there's also run around Hanover. This is a bit further, but for more than 100 euros free shipping in Germany. Online shop. Let's see. Grab box. This is cakes of diverse colorings. Setups they're like mixed. And they also have hand colored yarns. I think I've seen this one before. Like merino yarn, hand colored, hand dyed merino yarns. There you go. Which is nice. Let's see what they have here. Art yarn. So that's basically yarn mixtures based on specific artists, etc. But yeah, that's an option. That's an option, but yeah. And then there's Kokonki from Poland. There's so many options. I think that's kind of the end conclusion here. But I am not getting anything if I can prevent it. Yeah, the Kokonki has some really nice yarns. I believe I can also, if I purchase a certain amount, actually get free shipping to the Netherlands from there. They run them both on Etsy, but also they have their own web shop, though it's all in Polish. So I'll need to like use Google Translate to get anywhere close. I like some of them. You're able to literally order a specific, like you see the coloration, and you can always say, but instead of 1,000 meters, I'd like 1,250 or something like that. because you need 1200 for the pattern of the specific design, because sometimes you just need longer cakes than the classic 1000 meters. Just like for a couple of the Red Teapot Atelier shawls, if you want to make it full, she does write somewhere that she actually recommends you to have 1400 meters of yarn or something like that, which often is when she does them where she uses the hobby 8448 cotton, and do the color changes, so she's not using a cake yarn. And you could probably also make it in a cake yarn like that, especially like the Hobby Twist, of course. You have the solid extension, so that could be an option to solve that issue. And I do have a few of the solids here and there laying around as well. Plus, I also just have enough solids to probably work up a shawl if I wanted to in a solid color changed color gradation. Plus, I wanted to make, maybe that is my next big project. I think even Megan actually asked me a while ago when I was going to start on the Heart Collectors shawl. But yeah, when I start on that, I'll definitely also need to wind up cakes and so on, because I will be cutting and sifting through and so on. And I think that could be my next big project, because the hat collectors will definitely take blood, sweat, and tears. So that could be a big future project, actually. Just like Fleur has been. We all know that I can't work on the same project for a longer period of time unless I see some sort of progress, and I have the feeling I need multiple projects because it's just nice to switch a bit between them. So that could be an option. I also have some yarn laying for some sweaters that I want to crochet, but I haven't yet, and that's also a little bit of a pending thing. Part of that has been pending me wanting to lose some weight. I have been making progress, but not enough progress. Lisa can't do multiple projects at a time. Well, I do fine with them. I like having a few running. I don't want to have too many running. I actually do have a project which I have ended to come to the conclusion that I will probably never finish. And that's because it's just not gonna look how I had hoped and anticipated it would. The end project, that is. And it's also something that I will have a really hard time oh no. I hate when this splits. It's just something that I don't see. Yeah, it's not gonna be nice, the end project. And I can't frog it, so I'm probably just gonna, I don't know, shred it to pieces. It's not frog friendly. And I still have some yarns left of it as well, but I could easily double strand that and make some really nice beanies from it. So that I'm less concerned about. So that's probably what I'll end up doing with that, because I'm looking at it and I'm like, you know, I already weaved in ends and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like trying to trust the process, but it just looks unintended. Like, I like scrappy looks if it's intended scrappy looks, but this looks unintended scrappy looked. I can't explain it. I'm just not impressed. Plus, it's not even fitting me, so I'd need to get smaller if I'd remotely stand a chance. And that's even when it's blocked. So it's kind of been put on hold for a long time, and now I'm just debating on culling it completely. Revenant says intended scrappy look is random color changes, unintended look is like clown claw exploded. Yeah, that's this case. It just looks like a poor executed job, basically. And yeah, I can't make myself ask money for it. I can't make myself wear it. Like, if I won't use it myself, how can I expect others would? Um, it's just not gonna happen. So it's like, yeah. I think it's sort of semi-retired. Right now, it's just a project that's stashed away, that's in progress in a bag. And that's my only VIP that I never look at because I'm like, not sure. But I'm getting closer and closer to that. I'm probably going to just scrap it and put the remainder of that yarn into my yarn stash, so to say, for use for what you want. And then, yeah, it's just the end of it, the other one, so to say. The idea was good, but in reality, not so good. The yarns I used is like something called, oh my goodness, what is it called again? It's not super soft. It's a lamy yarns. Soft Sensation is it called. And it's an acrylic polyamide yarn. And it is really soft. But it's and it looks like mohair-ish, but it's not. Let's see, collection. I have the feeling that we need to pop in here. It's probably a fantasy yarn, but it's not looking on the list there. It's not cotton for sure. It's not crochet. Then let's jump into the fantasy yarn collection. Oh, that's nice, actually. Bolivia. Let's have a look at that. We have the chenilles, happy colors. This is like, I do believe it's like in a merino. Rainbow 4. It's not in here. Then it's a classic. probably. Angela, Baby Soft, Comfort Line. It's a donut like this one, and it's called Soft Sensation. Here it is. Ta-ta. This is where you have it. So it's basically 25 grams gains. So that's very little to 200 meters. So it's super thin, just as if you had mohair yarn or silk, kit silk or something like that. But it is 76% acrylic and 24% polyester. And they come in all these funky colors. You can like basically see what I mean with the mohair look. And the yarn I'm using, if I recall right, it's like the colorway, probably like 62, this one, combined with like a baby blue. It could have been the one up there. Nope, with this one. Those two combined held double. But it's super nice if you are allergic to animal fibers, because it does give you a bit the feeling of it. I'm still gonna check if this is 100% wool. Nice. 100 grams, 200 meters. It's like DK-ish weight. DK, somewhere between DK and around like 3 weights, 3 to 4 weights. Does look nice though. You have the colors laying there. Anyhow, that's the yarn I used for the project, and I am not gonna finish it. I'm quite sure I won't finish it. Lisa says sometimes we have to admit defeat, even though it sucks and it hurts. Yeah, well, this is definitely defeat. Simply because it's just not. It's yeah, it's just not gonna end up with the result I wanted it to be. I learned something, I guess. So you know, the process in that sense isn't bad. But I'll also be fine double stranding that yarn and make beanies from them or something similar to use up the yarn. That wouldn't be an issue for me at all. That would work just fine. Can though see on this a gorgeous live that, and how far I am, it's partially because we've been looking at yarn. But what I wanted to say is I do not believe that I will finish off this row during this live. Part of that is these popcorns takes forever, and we haven't changed yet, but we are really close to a color change, because if I look at this cake next to me, I will show you in a minute. I could show you when we are almost at the tip here, because I'm not really sure. I need to check the pattern by then. Then I'll move in the cake, unless of course we had a color change before, but I don't think we have. 2, 3, 4. I guess the full defeat is the fact that I did make a front and a back panel. I would just need to sew it together and add sleeves, but it's just not going to look good in any way, shape, or form. And I guess I feel the biggest defeat is the fact that I can't really frock it, because it's just going to be a mess to frock. Like it's not frock friendly because of the hair, right? It's a fluffy yarn. On fluffy yarns, you do not frock. As a rule of thumb, working with fluffy yarns, make sure you make no mistakes. we need to, I'm just checking the tip here. Just give me a moment. And I am going to be there with you. Coolio. I'm going to do a popcorn and chain 2 and popcorn and then repeat. Ronan says I had to frog out a punch your heart to put a lot of work into. I'm not sure where I was making the mistakes, but I could not get the repeat correctly. Oh yeah, it always sucks to frog. Lisa says it would be beautiful if you used one and held it with white baby yarn, the kind that has a bit of a sparkle. I do have actually a quite soft acrylic with a bit of a sparkle. That could work with it. Yeah. I just don't know if I would have enough yarn to make like a large project, because I might have like 3 or 4 skeins of each. So I have like less than 1,000 yards of each color. So it's not like sweater material amount wise. That's why I'm thinking I could look into either shawls, scarves, or hats. And yes, Lisa, I was working on that like until last summer about. And then I parked it because I needed to block it. And then my conclusion was it wasn't going to fit me because I needed to lose weight. And then, you know, when I look at it and I'm like trying to imagine this being sewn together, it's going to be so boxy. It's not going to fit my own personal shape. I love the colors held together. It's gorgeous, but it's just not project wise if that makes sense. So I'm ending up admitting probably defeat here. Yeah. Ron says now I'm just doing a box simple double crochet back and forth, making 2 panels, and I'm joining them together, leaving a hole for my head. I am even doing a stacked singles and making the first and last stitch of each row. Okay, good plan. Hopefully, yes, these edges will be straight. This is actually also very simple. This is front post, back post double crochets, this poncho. And then in the center, 2 double crochets, chain 2 to double crochets, and then front post, back post, front post, back post, all the way around. And after that, the cowl was added, which you barely can see here because obviously of the how it's showing. So I should, let's see, just streaming over here. There's a cowl on it too, which was not increased but just added on top. So after making this one out, I added the cowl at the very end. In hindsight, I would probably not do it like that. I would probably start by making the cowl and then just instantly crochet the rest on. Like if I would do it today, I would personally have done the pattern a bit different. But I like the cowl fact, especially now it's a little bit like wrinkled up with my scarf in. But that's just because I'm really been cold today. I'm too lazy to keep track of my first and last stitch, so I use stitch markers. Similar to some extent. Depends on the project. Depends on the project, I'd say. Okay, so we did chain 1, so now we are popcorn wise. I forgot something. I forgot to show you guys how far we are on the cake. then you guys can guess if we within the next 15 minutes get to do a color change, because I haven't spotted it yet. So I'm just gonna again check where I am. But as I said, cake. Ton, 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 ton. Look how little dark purple is left on the outside here. As you can see, we are definitely getting closer to a color change. My question is only to you guys, will this happen before we end this live? Come with your guesses. Come with your guesses. Are we gonna have a color change before the live ends? It's close, that I can see. I can see one or two places definitely where it's still double stranded, but will we get there? We have 10 to 15 minutes left, and then I'm afraid I will have to end it for today because of the time here. I'll need to clean up the table, and and then when my partner is home, we'll go straight to the voting ballots to do our premier election, government elections. So the real question is, will we reach to have a color change before we end? It's gonna be a close call. I'm just so surprised we've had like so long time not having it, right? Like, how? I think it's just this muffin mini lux cakes. They just take a fair bit longer to color change than one would normally assume. Crocheters are too fussy about not using stitch markers. They are a useful tool and no shame in using them. I'm happy using them. It depends on the project. Some projects it's easy to see start and end, so there is no need. And other projects I need to, like when I do the stacked single crochets, for example, at the end of the row, I will use them to indicate very clearly to me where the top of that stitch is. And that's as a personal help. Funny, the knitters I know use a ton of stitch markers. Well, I try not to count. I even use stitch markers when I cast on knitting to help me count. Like every 10 stitches, I'll place a stitch marker because I'm like, yeah, I don't want to sit and count this afterwards. Then I just need to count them quickly and make sure that in between stitch markers is as it should be. Lisa says bought over 1,000 light bulb stitch markers from Temu, so I have a little stashes of them all over. I also have a nice stash of them. I actually gave some of them away to a friend. I also got them originally from Temu. And I think it's fair to say that you can get a lot of good things from Temu for sure. Like stitch markers. Guess what? I had no guesses from you, but look what's here, my friends. There is the yarn knot for the color change. It's right there. Yes! Color change. Hallelujah. We've reached it this live before the last stretch of what, 5 minutes. Awesome. Color change. Yay. Exactly. Like I've been waiting for this for like the last 2 lives, like being like, it should happen today, I'm sure. Now we are finally in the color change. And still it takes like forever to happen. And now it's finally happened. The oddly feeling of, yes, it happened. That should have an angelic chorus accompanying it. It's like, hallelujah. Please don't hold your ears because I'm a horrible singer, but the thought of it, yeah. I should have some sort of a background celebration for it, right? Best we have is this I guess the member thingy I have, like, thank you. Actually, I think, or maybe the super chat I have is also not bad. Except there is no super chat to accompany it, but the thought matters. The thought matters. I should have some sort of extra audio chorus to go along with color changes for my lives. That's actually a brilliant idea. That is something I am going to look for, to see if there's something I can add, and throw that on for indeed, for when being live. That can be played and be like, yay, color change. The challenge is to find the right audio that's not copyrighted, because else I don't want to end up with copyright strikes, obviously. But I will be hunting for that. I think it's a great idea. I'm learning how to make socks on a teeny tiny circular needle instead of the double pointed needles. It's a bit more finicky, but much faster for me. Yeah, so I fight a lot less with my round needles when I decrease for the hats when I use the double pointed needles, but I find the double pointed needles are more finicky to use. Maybe fair use ode to joy. Hmm. I'm not sure if it's fair use when I see there's a music being, it's saying it's André Derieux, but I'll have a look. I'll have a look for future streams to see. I like the idea because I do. We do use a lot of color changing yarn on this stream, not just today, but in general. And I like the idea of being able to knock off something nice like that. Yes, I like that idea. So I'm gonna hunt for that. But When I'll have it implemented, no promises, but I will definitely be looking for it. I like the idea. And I think I'm heading into the last 3 popcorns. And then we are getting at the end. So, one more puppy. This, my friends, would be the last popcorn. As I said, we are missing a fair bit of row still, which is fair. Because we've been busy looking at yarn as well. So we did like 2.5 rows. Let's pop back up to my pretty face. Oh, that lighting is definitely different due to there's a lamp just up here, our table lamp. But my friends, not blocked. This is where we are at, and this will stretch quite a fair bit when it's blocked. Actually, it's gonna increase by maybe 25%, I think. But this is where we are at, and we had our color change on around the tip. You can just slightly ever see it's getting lighter, right? Around here it starts getting lighter. Last few stitches. I am pretty pleased with the end result. Pretty pleased. So that's good. It also means that this, my friends, is it stretches a ton. Exactly, Lisa. This will stretch a ton. But it means that this is the very last stitch I made in today's live. I'll be back on I would say Wednesday, but it's Wednesday today. I'm gonna be back on Friday, around 2 p.m. Central European time. Since we are an hour back in time, we are only 5 hours ahead of Eastern. So therefore, it's an hour early compared to what you're normally used to. So that would be, instead of 8 a.m. Eastern, we'll be there at 7 a.m. Eastern. That's the planning for Friday, and that's pretty much the plans for right now. I am going to clear up my crochet and prepare the house for dinner, and most of all, I'm gonna go do my duty to vote at the Dutch elections, governmental elections, together with my partner when he gets home from work. Then I am gonna work on the blanket tonight, and I'm also gonna visit the fitness center at some stage because I think it's gonna be nice and calm tonight due to the voting. And then I'll see you guys on Friday, and we will proceed on the show. So until I see you again, take care and happy crafting. And love you all. It was a wonderful time to spend time with you. If you have watched this live from the very beginning until now, thank you so much for your support. I very much appreciate it. So yeah, take care and happy crafting. until I see you again. Bye.